You know what time it is. It's time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Big shout outs to everyone that's listening on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, wherever you're listening to. Big shout outs to you. If you want to catch the video version of this show, make sure you go to my website to catch full episodes at thebigscoopwithcoop.com. Also on YouTube at youtube.com/thebigscoopwithcoop. You can also catch a 15-minute preview of this episode right here on Instagram at Big Scoop with Coop. All right, people, enough about me. Today's guest, she is doing it big in the gospel realm. She is a dedicated, great gospel singer. She is doing big things, big music, everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Lena Byrd Miles. Now, today on the show, she will be talking about her song, Walk on Water. Her album is called Brand New. New projects, making of Walk on Water, and also making the album also. So we're going to hear about her career, her music, and more. So make sure you sit back and relax and enjoy this episode of The Big Scoop with Coop with Lena Byrd Miles. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Coop. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. How's your day going so far?
It's hectic, but it's good.
Trust me, I understand. I'm in North Carolina, so I'm dealing with cold weather right now. I know snow probably will be coming in a few weeks or less.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have that in California. It's a event for us to go to. We plan to go to the snow. Yeah, like you get your families together and you get like an Airbnb, and then the kids ride the little sled. Like, it's an event. We have to drive to snow, and it doesn't just happen. If it does happen where I live, you'll be like, okay, is Jesus coming back? Because we don't get snow. Everybody be like, did the rapture come? Calling everybody around. But,
exactly.
So when we do get to see it, like in your place, I'm like all excited. And even with traveling and thinking, I was just in Buffalo, New York, and I was like, the snow is so pretty. My drivers were like, she is excited over snow that we get all the time. So I just say, I'm from California, I don't see it like that. So
yeah, lucky you. It's nice when it calms down. In my area, I'm in Eastern North Carolina, so in my area, I'm only getting probably about 2 to 3 inches. I might get lucky if I get 6 inches or more, but the hectic part is when it turns to ice. Can't stand it. Definitely can't stand it. Yes.
So that's what affects everybody's driving, and like when we were little, we used to see people putting chains on the tires. Do they still do all of that stuff? Like
not in North Carolina. Everybody drives like an old grandma. Probably go about 10 miles per hour and be on the highway with it. So yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. Yes. Now, Lena, I do want to say straight up, you're doing big things right now. You have a lot of music out right now. You're doing great things, catching a lot of eyes. You have worked with a lot of people. This album, Brand New, trust me, it's not going to be brand new for long, because everybody will be buying it up and you're going to be hearing it on rotation over and over and over, like they're probably doing already now. So, but for the people that's getting to know you for the first time ever, when did you first realize that God blessed you to receive this talent to be a gospel singer?
Wow. I would say, I started singing at the early age of like in front of people, like probably 4 years old. And my grandparents, they still pastor to this day, New Hope Church of God in Christ, where I was born and raised. And my mother is a minister of music, organist there still. My dad is a bass player there still. So they're almost in their 70s. My parents are, and they're still in music like that. So music has always been around. So I'll say that even my mom says I was like humming and stuff in the crib at like 11 months to 1 year old, like I was able to hum melodies and they would recognize what I was singing. But my recognition probably would be like when people started giving me dollars and, like, oh, I must be pretty good, when the deacons would be like, baby, you blessed me with $2 and, after services. And then my granddad would get calls saying, they're asking, can little Lena come sing at our Usher annual day program? And that probably started about 5, 6 years old, preschool. And at my preschool graduation, I was asked to sing Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. It's like, so all of these things that back then they had the cameras with the flashes and the long
Yep.
rectangular. I don't know if any 80s babies are watching, but yeah, that was before we had cell phones. Okay. Now it's cell phones everywhere you go. But back then it was even scarier because it just flash, flash, flash when you're little. And then, you're the only one holding the mic. The other kids is off key behind you and doing their thing. But I think that's probably when I really started to realize at least at a young age that, this might be. Now, I was still shy and scared to look up. And, some kids are just, they have it. They're your Michael Jacksons right off, where they pointing at the audience and moving and dancing. I wasn't her. I was the be still. I was the be still and get it done. And if I look up, you might consider yourself blessed that I connected with you. For most time, no. But yes, from childhood. And then later on, I'm the oldest of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So my 2 sisters were born. We started singing as the Byrd Sisters. And then you start getting asked around everywhere. Of course, that helps with building your confidence and, just being like renowned in our own city and called on, and then doing into adulthood, getting called to do background work, sing on people's live recordings, things like that. So it just progressed over time with me being affirmed and confirmed from God that this is something that I need to look into.
You know what, Lena? We kind of got a similar story because you say you started humming at 6 to 11 months old, dealing with music. I still hum at 44 years old, and they pay me not to sing because I can't do nothing past a hum. So that's what they do for me. So they be like, baby, here's $1, please don't sing this song no more. Just hum it. You've been doing that since you was a child. Keep humming. That's all I want you to do. So that's my similar story I have to you on that one. So yes, it shows you blew me out when you turned 1 year old. You already surpassed me right there. I was done.
I would be humming to get more money at 44 if I was. You want me to stop? You better give me some money. You want me to?
Oh, you trying to get me to hold people hostage over my singing? No.
That's a whole other ministry, right? That's a whole other ministry.
Man, they'll be putting the holy oil on me, the holy water and everything for me to stop. Trust me.
He's rebellious.
Yes. God will stop me in my tracks right then there, son. Stop singing. All right, tell you right now what you're going to do. I'm telling you.
That's funny. That is funny.
I'm telling you.
I understand. Because black people will keep it real. Baby, don't do that no more. Don't wear that no more. Don't say that no more.
Yep. Trust me. I've heard it too many times. Yes.
That's funny.
Yes. Now, Lena, did you have any mentors in your career from the beginning up to now to help you out to get to where you are?
Absolutely. I've been quite privileged with, of course, my mom being who she was, and then with us being like a gumbo pot of gospel. Not that my dad ever said we couldn't listen to secular music,
right,
but that's all he purchased. And because he was the one who made the money, that's, what I listened to for the majority. So it was people mentoring me through their work without, realizing that I studied them or that. So you had like the Clark sisters, the Vanessa Bell Armstrongs, the Daryl Coleys, Rance Allen. It was a big gumbo pot of, we listened to a lot of the Winans, Andre Crouch, James Moore, a lot of these people who've gone on to be with the Lord, Frank Williams, Mississippi Mass Choir. So I was studying without realizing I was studying and creating, my own signature sound, but actual people who I had actual connection. And you had Lawrence Matthews, who I sang with for a while. You had this guy named Derek Hall, who's a great musician. I sang in their groups for a while. They're all from Oakland. And then I got blessed to work with the late, great Edwin Hawkins. I was a new Edwin Hawkins singer. So he really came in, I would say, in the more mentorship, like with telling me how to pace myself or try this and do this and that. The other two that I mentioned, I was just kind of getting my feet wet with learning how to be in the background. I learned a lot from them with doing session work, like in the studio. And Derek Hall, I want to say, was one of my first that I got to do actual BGVs in an actual studio session. And then it started building from there where people are like, that's Lena singing in the background, stuff like that. So I had God plays different people in my life for different things. And there's others that I'm probably forgetting. That's just who comes to mind. And, the show is only so long that I could sit in do, 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 do.
It is true.
But those are the three names that come off right off top, at least from my area, that we consider iconic and legendary. And, and then, of course, with getting signed with the great Warren Campbell, and then you had the Erica Campbells and the Tina Campbells and the people from different industry people being connected to your BB Winanses and your, just all these different people that are like, okay, try this when you do this, sing this when you just from being in their presence, from maybe doing some engagement, and they were giving me tips without realizing they're mentoring me. It's just a blessing that I said God has placed me in the presence of great men. Like the Bible says, your gift will make room in what it does. So.
Wow. And you know what? That right there should be a sign that you are headed in the right direction, not just from the young, shy side, but when you start getting up there in age and look at all the people that you have met. And it wasn't coincidence that that music was played to you. The Holy Spirit sent that to you and you was listening to it throughout your whole time. And I guarantee you probably still have it in your playlist somewhere also, that you're still listening to it, because, hey, you're never too old to learn. So I guarantee you're still picking up on things and you still going. And I just want to once again congratulate you for everything that you have done already, because I see the tips and the tricks that you picked up is showing. It's definitely showing. So please continue to do what you're doing. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this before we even start talking about Walk on Water and we start talking about Brand New and all your other songs. Now, you mentioned a lot of gospel artists. Now, are there any gospel artists that you have not worked with before that you would love to collaborate with?
Absolutely. I would love to do something with like a CC Winans. I would love to do something maybe with Yolanda Adams and, and even some of my label mates. I would do something with the Marys, like which Mary, Erica, and Tina. And that's probably it within the works. God is the the one who has the timing with that. But thankfully, I have closer. I could just call them and say, "Can y'all come sing with me, please?" I don't have CC Winans' number, and I don't have Yolanda Adams' number. And then I'm a huge Marvin Winans fan. Like if he was ever on an album or anything of mine, thankfully I have BB, and there's a connect there. But there's so many. Those are just who come to mind. But I'm open to whoever the call would come from. If they even said we want Lena just to come say on this. If I just came and talked and did the narration and say, in the little town of Bethlehem or for a Christmas project. I mean, anything would be a blessing, just because so many of them have, they're trailblazers and pioneers for us. Shirley Caesar, all of them. It's just like the fact that I get to attend Stellar Awards and they're walking the red carpet and just close enough for me to just, hi, I'm a big fan. I've watched you. But now I'm in the same room. And, I remember times where they would come to our town and sometimes we couldn't go. We didn't have the money to buy the tickets. But here I am, seated just feet away from them. The Clark sisters. I would love to do something with, thankfully I've sang with them like on different stages and just been at their churches numerous times. But yeah, to have something on wax would be like phenomenal, because they're all heroes to me.
Wow. And the names that you just named right there, that's over 30, 40 years of legacy right
Absolutely. There. And still going.
It's still going.
It's not nobody has taken a seat and said, yeah, I'm going to retire. Now, I remember at the time the Clark sisters were like, this is our last. But now look at them on the reunion tour and they done did a movie since they said it was their last. So you never know what God has in store still. When we think we're through, he like,
That's right.
I'm just getting started.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen watching worldwide right now, I hope you're taking in everything that Lena is saying right now, because once again, you can say you had a final say so, but they say God has a sense of humor. So you keep saying that you're done with something. Nah, God will tell you straight up, no, you have more in there. You're going to keep working for me. And that's what's going on. A lot of these gospel singers, they'll say, yeah, we're done. We're about to retire. God would shake them up and turn them back around, and guess what? They back out there doing later and greater things that better than what they were doing before. So big shout outs to BBCC, Clark
Yeah.
Sisters. If I name
Yeah.
everyone Lena just said, man, this show would be over.
Yeah.
Big shout outs to everybody. I'm telling you, that's
Yes.
big touch in Lena's life. That's what I'm talking about. Now, Lena, let's talk about this real quick.
Okay.
First, I want to say, I see your feet work, girl. You good in those skates. Good in those
I thought
skates.
you was talking about shouting. I was
No,
like,
I knew you thought about to say that. I know you thought I was going there. I had to twist it on you. Now, you're good on those skates. Now, here's one thing I can truthfully say we got in common, because I used to be on the speed skating team in North Carolina. I'm a skater also. And when I saw you in that video, you don't know how bad I wanted to get a time machine and go back to the date that you actually shot that video and get in that video to put my skates on to do what I did best. So let's talk about this.
okay.
WOW, Walk on Water. Big time video, big time hit song. It's gonna be an instant classic. I already see it. Now, yes, how much fun was it for you to shoot that video?
First of all, let's talk about how mind-blowing that it was at the actual Cascade at ATL, especially during still like the mid-pandemic, where it was still limited on who could attend. I had, strict rules, but it definitely was beyond fun because it was beyond what I could ask or think with even when Pastor Warren is the one who that was his concept. Because so many people when they heard the short clips that you play when you're about to release a song, everybody kept saying, this makes me want to skate, this makes me want to skate. And skating is one of my outlets. I would go on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. My husband, being a musician, at one time he was playing for a couple services beyond what I could take. I would be like, okay, I'll go to the first two with you, but this third one, can I do something? Can I do something else? Because I know you love the Lord in church like that. I do too, but I want to do something different. So my good friend, her husband would play drums with my husband. So me and her, we ended up, I don't know if we heard from a friend that the skating rink was doing certain things on Sunday, having sessions on Sunday nights for adults only. So then we were like, oh, this will be fun. So we kind of got hooked that way. And then she moved to North Carolina. Shout out to Tracy. And Sam, her husband, sadly passed away a couple years ago, right before the pandemic. But that became our thing. That was just an outlet away from, work. And when we found out they had two nights, they had Wednesday and Sunday. So anyway, skating became my outlet. But when he told me that we're going to do this, I thought it was just going to be me skating outside at some random park. I didn't know they were going to rent out this facility. I would fly to Atlanta because I'm from California. And that would be the start also of my promo tour, my 3-week promo. So to open with this big bang and all these people that were like FaceTiming me because they couldn't come, with so many rules and stuff. But I had so much, I think my heart was just bubbling over. My sister who moved away, she surprised me and drove up from Virginia. And while I was getting my makeup done, she came and hugged me. So I'm ugly crying before taping. They had to redo my face. But to have the Cascade team there were bishops and pastors that showed up and skated and left. It was just so many, things that said, we with you. We support you, and this is going to be something amazing. And it really was. It was beyond what I could ask or think from God, because I didn't see the vision, just even from hearing it from Warren, what his ideas were. I didn't know it was going to turn into what it turned into. And even in my last event I just sang at Buffalo, an older gentleman walked up to me and said, you sang me happy, but you didn't do one thing. And I said, what happened? What I didn't do? You didn't bring your skate. It was the way he said it. So I'm like, is that going to be a thing? And here you are in an interview talking about it. I'm like, I'm going to have to start carrying them on because I don't want to get shot.
Yeah. You made your trademark on that. You definitely made your trademark on that.
Well, is there anybody else in gospel who's done like a skate video or, I'm like, I don't know if I'm the only one.
I think you made history. And I'm
gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah.
I know Anita Baker did a skating video in the 80s. Like I think her song is Same Old Love. All I wanna do.
True.
She did, and she was smooth on her skate, she's just smooth.
Yes.
Me, I don't know if you saw the clip where Warren also gave me brand new skates.
I saw that with your face on the side of it.
So
Yes.
that took a minute for me to get my bearings. I was I was thankful they cut some of that because I was, you putting those on and recording the video in the brand new skate. You're a skater, so just putting on some
Yes.
skates, your feet are and your ankles are like, what is going
Yes.
on? It
Yes.
took a minute for me to get acclimated with the skates, but still, like I said, a fun time. I cried a lot. I cried before, I cried after, and just even on my 3 week promo run, I still, as everybody was tagging me in all the reposts, and even the people from Cascade that skated with me, the professional skaters, they were just like, this was just so refreshing to be a part of. So just to develop these new friendships and relationships with people that I never saw coming, just from a song. You never know what music will do, for people and for yourself. So
That's
beyond a
true.
blessing. It's beyond a blessing.
That's true. And I'm glad you just said that, Lena, because that's what I want to talk about next. Because a lot of people, when they write songs, especially in the gospel industry, it touched them or they can relate to the song in some type of way. Now, how does Walk on Water actually relate to your life?
I think my whole stepping out into music is a walk on water. Because although I was a singer, I didn't see the artistry part of Lena. Like, looking back now, I see that God's connecting of the dots, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, like everything led up to this point and had something to do with the other one. My mama training us and making us sing at different churches, and then you getting invited here. Then God connected me with Edwin Hawkins, and I'm touring with him, and he was my first person to take me out of the country because of music. Like all of these things, to later on being signed by Warren Campbell, all because of a post of my plate of chicken and waffles in LA. Like, so random, divine. I call it divine random, where I didn't know God was connecting the dots this way. But I was also, I still am a licensed cosmetologist. I was comfortable doing hair, so I thought my microphone was my hairbrush. I thought that was my ministry. Like I thought doing hair, and because I had things happen to me where one of my clients before she passed away, I was the person she came back to after finding out the news that she got cancer. And she was like, I want you to pray with me. She came back to the salon. I want you to pray with me before I go home and tell my son, who was a freshman in high school, she won't see him graduate. She died like maybe 3 months later. So you're like, I'm where I'm supposed to be because of moments like this. You think that's all God has as far as your assignment is concerned. But to, go from that to now having music and stuff, Walk on Water, and people giving, DMs and saying I started my business and this was the song that I played to encourage me. I wrote my book. I did, just all these different things where you're walking on water, literally, where the song says, I'm putting my faith to work. I'm through with the devil's, whatever he's trying to make me think and think that I can't accomplish certain things, because it doesn't get us anywhere to think negative,
It's true.
but to actually, think outside of the box. The song says, put your faith to work. Lord, I'm trusting you and I'm ready to prove. It's like, put your big girl britches on and show God you can trust me with what you've given me, that I won't, drop the ball with it. I won't just handle it all willy nilly, if that's still a thing, a word. But I
It
mean,
still is.
because sometimes we treat the things God gives us like they're mediocre, and they're not. They're these big packages, and we have to not carry them with arrogance, but you carry them with confidence. And God giving you these things because of the impact you'll have. So you're always walking in humility, but you're also walking confidently and saying, yeah, as I'm walking on water, I have the ultimate King of Kings with me, the Lord of Lords, who knows all, sees all, prevents all, protects from all. So why not step out? It's get out of your boats, figuratively, literally, whatever it is, because I'm sure it's gonna be people watching and feeling like time is too late, or the ship has sailed, or certain windows and doors may have closed. But no, sometimes God still has something burning and turning in you, because it's still time to release it. And the other thing is, our concept of time is not the same for God.
That's
A
right.
day, the Bible says, a day with the Lord is 1,000 years.
Yes.
So as long as you're in time, you still have time. As long as you're living in above ground, you can still walk on water. Like, it's never too late. So I've even the most exciting thing was, I was somewhere and I thought, you know, the majority of my crowd was probably 75 plus. So I chose songs that I thought would cater to them, right? To the older. I'm thinking a lot of my album is kind of contemporary. They might not want it. They might want some down home, So I sang stuff that I thought, and one, she had to be like 83. She came up to me, you didn't do my song. I said, oh no, which one is your song? And she said, Walk on Water.
Wow.
Now she sang it like a Negro spiritual, but it's the fact that here this 80-something-year-old lady is being encouraged by the message and enjoys the music. Because sometimes people are like, that hippity hop, dippity bop, whatever they want to say.
Right. Yeah.
If it's not traditional gospel, or they'll say, the gospel is going so far, like Kirk Franklin, we got too radical with our because it's not the style that they're used to, which is, we can respect that. God is a huge God who gives an array of ideas. So everybody's gospel won't sound the same, or version of gospel music. But to hear that from an 80-plus-year-old, you're like, okay, I might be on to something even with their generation, because you might sometimes feel like I'm only for a certain demographic too, and no, it can be for the old as well as the Caucasian, whatever ethnicity. Like, you just assume, my song may just have a certain reach, but to God be the glory for whoever is listening and whatever blessings they're taking from it.
Now, Lena, you should have been picking up on a lot of clues that you just said when you reminiscing off of this. I think that you probably need to make a part 2 or a remix to Walk on Water, because people is gravitating to that song. So yeah,
we might have to talk to more. We might have to talk to Warren about Wow 2.0.
Yeah, there you go. Now, also let's talk about the whole album, Brand New. What was the thought process? Because there's multiple songs up there. What was the thought process of getting the songs out of your head to paper, or typing these days, and getting it to the album? What was your thought process from beginning to the end?
Well, we had a lot of collaboration. Of course, as you can tell, my personality is I have a great sense of humor. So a lot of the sessions would just be like, one song we'll take, for instance, This Is the Day. I was when Warren was playing the music, some of the times most of them, the instrumentation was already done. It was just like, what do you hear from this? And so just playing around. I literally was like, he was on a phone call and I was going, this is the day, whatever, just in the background, just trying to see if I could come up. And he put the phone down and was like, hold on. He was like, I like what you're doing, even though I was like kind of playing in the background. And I was like, what he finna do with that? From there, the verses came from a friend of ours, Jay Sean Champion, who was one of my label mates' brother, Jason Champion. And when we heard it pieced together, because I think whenever he sent it to Jay Sean, it was back within moments I got these verses already. So that's how that song particularly came together. But there were other times where we sat for moments or he would go and handle errands and leave me in the studio while I come up with what I come up with. And then, like I said, his sister Joy, she was one of the people we collaborated with. Joy Starr, shout out to her, who was a label mate. For Walk on Water, you had Eric Dawkins from Dawkins and Dawkins. But we actually worked on Walk on Water, I want to say during the pandemic, when I couldn't travel as much as I would have liked to, because of the quarantine mandates, where you had to, and shelter in place. If you were flying anywhere, you got to stay there for a year or whatever. But just that they, like, if you go, you couldn't just, with LA, I don't know if you're aware, although Pastor Warren and I are in the same state, our cities are about 6 to 8 hours apart. So of a drive. Of flying, it's about an hour. So even just flying to LA to try to do certain things back during that time, it was just kind of a nuisance with figuring things out to a degree. So a lot of things we started doing like this via Zoom, trying to work on songs. Watch Me, we wrote together on Zoom. He was at a keyboard like this, like how you're sitting. And I just started looking at my notes from devotion and, hey, what about this idea? And explaining to him, let's talk about seeing God do certain things that, or we could still see God move in a pandemic, because a lot of us were kind of losing sight, even the believers, that we would get through this, because a lot of us, no one had lived through a pandemic to know like what the outcome would. So that was that process for Watch Me. We wrote it over Zoom. Walk on Water, the chorus, if I got to walk on water, we was
Yeah.
doing that on Zoom. So certain things, they just came different ways. The whole
Wow.
writing process, it's too many ways to like.
I understand.
The process was just all over the place, but in a great way.
Yes. Yes. Now, Lena, how can everybody purchase Brand New?
It is available on all your digital media outlets. That's Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you listen. For Android users, I'm apostolic, so I don't know. But I think it's Google Play for Android users, right? I think.
I'm iPhone.
You don't know?
Yeah, I'm iPhone. I believe it is a Google Store or Google Play.
Yes.
On the thing. Yeah.
I need to do better with researching that. But yes, for you Android users, we love you too. It's still there. I know it's on Tidal, all of the things, but yes, you can find it very easy. It's My Face, the Afro with Flowers, the entire album. So yep, it's wherever you listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, watch worldwide. Make sure you go get the album. Not right now, because you're watching this interview. After this interview, go purchase that album. Get it, get it, get it. Make sure, I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed in this album. Brand New is going to be putting something brand new in your life. Go do it right now. Make sure you do it. Now, are there any other projects, Lena, that you're working on that you want the world to know about?
Well, I've had a few collaborations, with one being the great Killer Mike, a song called Shed Tears. That's I kind of been doing small pop-ups here and there with him. And then I have a Christmas collaboration with Adam Blackstone, Joy to the World. I don't know if people remember the Joy to the World with the great late Whitney Houston. It's that version, similar version.
Yep.
But Adam Blackstone, producer, musician extraordinaire. That's out now. And then so second album, because Brand New was released in 2022. So here we are going into, 2025. I'm looking forward to all of the new projects that are, coming with that. But yeah, it's a lot. And of course, I'm traveling and singing in different cities and states. So just stay tuned. Maybe on my Instagram, when I get flyers, I usually post what city I'll be in the week of. So that's my way of saying, hey, I'm in your city, because people will be like, you didn't let me know. Well, me putting a flyer was letting you know, because it's hard to remember who lives where. You will assume like, hey, I was out there. And you're like, oh no, I live in New York.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I'm not reaching out by saying, hey, I'm in your city. This is the way I'm telling y'all. I am in whatever city and surrounding city.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that, Lena. So what is the best way for everybody to follow you on social media so they can keep up where you're at and what you're doing?
I would probably say, now I have Twitter, but I don't be on there often. I need to do better with that. But I'm most active probably on Instagram. And then after Instagram would be Facebook.
And what would be the names on Instagram and Facebook for them to follow?
My full name, LenaByrdMiles, Lena Byrd Miles. Any other page is fraud or fan page, but it's my full name. So I have yet to be, I don't want to say it'll ever happen, but thankfully I have my name. And then I post, I'm just getting a little bit familiar with TikTok, but only have like some videos on there. I'm not as popular and good at it yet. So I would say come to Instagram. If you're looking for me, come there first.
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, watch worldwide. Make sure you follow Lena. You don't want to miss out what she's doing. You can't blame her if she's in a certain city and you missed it, because I told you, go follow her on Instagram. Make sure you keep up with her. That's gonna be your fault if you miss her. So guess what? The brand new will be brand old, because she's gonna be gone by the time you see it, because you didn't follow her on Instagram to find out what was going on. So make sure you follow her on Instagram. You want to keep up with her on the latest and greatest. Now,
brand old is hilarious. But
there you go. Now, Lena, this is the last segment of the show. It's called Take the Floor. You have up to 2 minutes to say whatever you want. No questions asked. Lena Byrd Miles, take the floor.
Y'all don't get weary in y'all well doing. The things that God has put in your heart to do them things. Don't let any naysayer stop you. Any, whatever. Don't let it stop you. God has need of all of us. Whatever you have is just as necessary as the next person's invention, creation, all of that. If it's music, if it's opening a restaurant business, hair salon, whatever, all the things that can be beneficial to the kingdom and to you as well. We need you. So step out of your boats. As we were talking about walking on water. Do the things. Like, we need you, and we need what God has placed in you so much. This world is so crazy, and you never know. The next person's breakthrough could be dependent on what you have to release. So don't be selfish, but give what you got and live a life spent poured out to God. Give him the glory and watch him bless you. The doors and the sky ain't even the limit no more. We can go beyond that with whatever God has for you and your destiny. So do you, but give God the glory and put him first.
That's some deep stuff. That's what I'm talking about. You heard her right here. Going to step out on faith. You know what to do. People, if you got something you want to do, don't sit there and say, man, I wonder if I can. No, if you're wondering, that means God put the image in your head. Do it. You can do it. Lena, I want to thank you for coming on the show. This has been an awesome show, and I would love to have you back on in the future.
Yes, love to come back. Thank you so much, Coop, for having me. It was a fun time. It was fun.
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, my next episode of the Big Scoop with Coop, my next guest is, you know I'll announce my next guest. You better go follow me on Instagram at the Big Scoop with Coop to keep up with the latest and greatest to find out who's be coming on next. Until the next time, people, on the Big Scoop with Coop. Peace.